There's a very useful ability that is innate to human beings, one we are all inherently capable of, but you might not yet have begun to tap into it. This ability is part of the secret to being able to withstand, navigate, and even conquer the toughest moments you could imagine. In some ways, it is subtle, but if you look at it the right way, it is literally life-changing how impactful this ability could be for you. We can clearly see it when we take a close look at our own individual personalities. It is a wildly popular thing to try to assess our personality types. And we've seen an endless number of iterations of attempts to do so along different spectra and factors. These assessments ranging from scientifically valid measures to simple online quizzes we might see on BuzzFeed or other various media outlets. The wide range and number of different ways of categorizing and measuring our personalities seem to speak to a strong urge to know ourselves well and to be able to visualize on paper the components of our individual personality. One of the most popular of such assessments is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, which is a well-known, though scientifically dubious, assessment which categorizes individuals as one of two types in 4 different areas of personality. The binary categories individuals are assigned to based on their answers are introversion or extroversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, and judging or perceiving. When people complete this questionnaire, they are given a 4-letter test result indicating the combination of the category types they fall into along those personality factors. To many people, it is a very gratifying experience to be able to discover an approximate description of where they fall in the range of personality types. But if we look much closer and consider how dynamic and flexible every single individual is, we might start to see how hard it is to fit very well into the boxes of any personality test. If you need an example of how dynamic you can be, just imagine how you feel and how you behave at 7 a.m. compared to how you feel and behave at 7 p.m. Or compare what you're like on a Saturday afternoon at the park to a busy Monday at the office. Not only can we feel and behave differently on different days of the week or in different environments, but we can see the most capacity for flexibility in who we are across time. Your Myers-Briggs results might tell you you're relatively extroverted, and you might agree, but you maybe can recall that as a small child, you were actually pretty shy and didn't enjoy meeting new people. You could probably easily notice that now your capacity for thinking far outweighs what it was at any point in your youth, possibly even enough to move you out of the feeling category. The point here is much less to do with the relevance or accuracy of the Myers-Briggs test. All of this summarizes something quite significant about human beings in general. We have an amazing capacity for change. We can grow stronger when we need strength. We can be more careful or more attentive when a situation gets precarious. We can think harder when we need ideas, but we can also feel more deeply when we need a bit more love or empathy. We can grow softer or warmer when we notice our relationships need it. We can learn new ways of interacting with those around us. We can edit the ways we express ourselves. We can lean into our favorite traits that we see in ourselves, trying to be our most charismatic self, our most courageous self, our funniest self, our kindest self, our most dependable self, our most faithful self, our most resilient self, maybe even our most understanding and thoughtful self. The innate ability you and every other human on this planet possess is the power to change for the better. In the 1993 movie Groundhog Day, Bill Murray plays a selfish, indulgent weatherman who goes to Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania to record a report on the Groundhog Day holiday. In a supernatural turn of events, he gets stuck reliving the same day over and over. What he realizes after many, many unpleasant iterations of the exact same day happening to him again and again is that if this unimaginably unpleasant circumstance won't change for him, then he will have to be the one to change. The only potential way out of his supernaturally confounding situation was to grow into the appropriate version of himself in his particular circumstances. That meant he needed to be kind and thoughtful towards others instead of his former self-absorbed self. In our reality, we find ourselves in much different sorts of tough situations, but ones that nonetheless seem relentless. We can be facing things that feel so difficult, so large, so overwhelming that it seems nearly impossible to deal with them, or inevitable that dealing with it all will destroy us in so many ways. There's an alternative to being crushed by these things, a way out or around the seemingly inevitable destruction. When a problem is very hard and we don't know how to change it, we have to change ourselves. We have to become the exact version of ourselves who can very well deal with this problem. We might even need to become the version of ourselves who can learn a lot from this problem. If this is a problem for a courageous person, then we need to see that we stretch ourselves towards courage. If we are in a problem only solved by resilient people, then we need to find our own particular ingredients for resilience and start concocting it. If we are stuck in a terrible circumstance, that could only possibly be handled by someone with wisdom and patience and endurance and consistency, then our only option in that kind of a moment is to begin leaning into our wisest, most patient, most durable and consistent parts of ourselves. So much so that we expand those things to become more and more of who we are, or at the very least, who we can be when it's needed. People are always changing, even when they don't mean to or don't notice that they are. So how do you solve your life's toughest problems? You change in just the right way. You become the kind of person who doesn't think that problem is unsolvable.